What's the crack, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Cards everywhere here. I will be bringing you a deck profile in a little bit, but there's just a few things I'd like to tell you first. So first off, we have a new code, S-Spirit. I've already redeemed it myself, but you do get an avatar and a few coins, so don't forget to do so. And the next thing is there is a new crafting card out, being Seance. So, on the play, if played next to Ghost, gain 13 power this round. It might have some potential, maybe not this week, but some other time. So the cards to make it are Mummies, Vampire Bat, Amber Phantom Butterfly, White Lily, Rain, Dead Drops, Thick-Headed Fly, Number 14 Chair, and Memory. So don't forget to make that when you get the chance. So on to today's deck. It is a horrible Halloween themed deck. I wouldn't say it's exactly very good, but it's more of a fun deck. It's not meant to be too competitive. So I'll give a quick rundown and we'll try and get a win. So first up is Count Dracula. On the play, your horrible Halloween cards in hand gain 40 power this turn. If played on the horrible Halloween arena, your horrible Halloween cards in hand gain an additional 40 power this turn. Next we have Mummy. On the return, your arts and culture cards, wherever they are, gain 11 power until played. Then we have Exorcism. On the return, your horrible Halloween cards, wherever they are, cost -2 energy and lose 10 power until played. I don't know if this is exactly a brilliant card to play in the deck, but I'm going with it anyway. Next up, Plague Doctor. On the return, if you have played any card with death in the name, your opponent loses 100 power next turn. Then we have Will-o'-the-Wisp. On the return, if you lost a turn, gain 50 power for 2 turns. Quite a good card. Next is Ghoul. On the return, if your deck has 5 or more Brilliant Human Body cards, your Brilliant Human Body cards, wherever they are, lose 30 power until played. And this card gains 150 power permanently. That is a huge boost to himself, but it does have a cost, so it's an alright card. Next up is Death. On the draw, if you have played Conquest this game, and you have played War this game, this card gains 50 power this turn. On the play, the card opposite this loses 50 power this turn. And on the return, the 4 Horsemen cards, wherever they are, gain 25 power until played. Then we have Edwin Landseer. On the play, if played next to any horrible Halloween card, the card opposite this loses 40 power this turn. And the last of the arts and culture is Vitruvian Man. On the play, if your deck has 9 or more science cards, your arts and culture cards, wherever they are, gain 18 power until played, and vice versa. Next we have the science cards, the first being The Brain. On the draw, your cards, wherever they are, gain 23 power for 2 turns, and this card locks for 2 turns. Then on the return, an opponent's random card in hand locks next turn. Then I've gone with Consciousness. On the draw, if your deck has exactly 9 arts and culture cards, your science cards, wherever they are, gain 18 power until played. If your deck has exactly 9 science cards, your arts and culture cards, wherever they are, gain 18 power until played. Then I've gone with Femur. On the draw, your Brilliant Human Body cards in hand gain 15 power permanently. Next is the Eye. On the play, your Brilliant Human body cards, wherever they are, gain 20 power until played. That does kind of negate the effect of Ghoul a little bit. Next up, Hysterical Strength. On the draw, if your deck contains Psychometry and Quantum Teleportation, your cards in hand gain 22 power this turn. Then we have Quantum Teleportation. On the return, if your deck contains Psychometry and Hysterical Strength, a random card in your hand costs -5 energy next turn. Then we have Psychometry. On the play, if your deck contains Quantum Teleportation and Hysterical Strength, the card opposite this loses 50 power this turn. Then I've gone with a few boosting cards. The Linux Kernel. On the play, if played next to any science card, your science cards, wherever they are, gain 15 power for 3 turns, and then repeat for each album. And then on the return, if your deck only has science cards, your cards, wherever they are, gain 10 power for 3 turns. And the last card is Jet Car. On the play, your cards adjacent to this gain 80 power this turn, and then on the return, lose 40 power for 3 turns. So that's the deck, guys. I'm sure there's plenty of room for improvement, but this was never meant to be too competitive anyway. So we'll just jump into a game with it and see if we can pull out a win. I'll probably only play the one game. If it is against a bot, so be it. I think against a real opponent, this deck doesn't stand too much of a chance, unless we get extremely lucky. But we did get a real opponent, so we'll see what we can do. We might be able to pull out a win. So we got the Horrible Halloween Arena first. That might give us a chance to come out with a win. So we'll go with Ghoul, the Linux Kernel, and Vitruvian Man for a 225 start. Since we drew the Ghoul early, it should be very, very powerful by the end of the game. So it looks like the opponent is going for a Horrible Halloween deck of his own. Or at least he's playing some Horrible Halloween cards. Otherwise, I'm not sure what else the theme of his deck will be. So we go with the Mummy, the Will-O-Wisp, and the Jet Car for a 382. I do want to win this arena, since it is the best arena we could possibly get in this week. So if we do happen to lose this, it will be quite detrimental. But that puts us right back on even playing field. So we are not too far behind. I don't particularly want to play Plague Doctor. Since we haven't played Death this game. But I'm not sure if we can win the round without it. So I am going to give it a go. Our only shot here was Shinigami Hidden Consciousness. So unfortunately we lose this round, which doesn't bode well for us for the rest of the game. So we're going to go Quantum Teleportation, Edwin Landseer. We can't even do that. It is not very optimal at all, but we're going to have to go with this play. So 444, we're a little bit behind, and we have the negative effect of Jet Car. So this will be an uphill struggle. There is Death. So I suppose we'll play Death, Exorcism, and Count Dracula for a 337. And it does put us into the lead by a tiny bit. Though I'm still not sure if we can pull out a victory this game. But there is our ghoul, so we get that around. With the Linux kernel and the hysterical strength, and we'll have to hope that is enough to win this round. Looks like we were able to pull through by a little bit. We will be very weak the next round though. So here we go into round 2, or round 3. I was happy enough to be able to win at least one turn there anyway. So we'll go Vitruvian Man, the Mummy, and the Will-O-Wisp for a 252. Hopefully we do lose the turn, so we get the Will-O-Wisp off. But I do want to cycle around my stronger cards, since I do want to try and win the last round of the game as well. Unfortunately, the opponent didn't lose that turn, so we don't get the Will-O-Wisp off. This has been going fairly poorly for us this game. We do get the boost from Femur. So I'll try get Femur, or the Eye, Brain and Femur around for a 208. And then I'll cycle around our consciousness, so the Femur will give it a boost next time it comes around. So we go consciousness, quantum teleportation, and Plague Doctor. So the opponent has some very, very strong cards in his deck. It's going to make it very difficult to win the last round. I think we'll be able to pull through this round, but I'm not overly hopeful either. So we go with Psychometry, Death, and Exorcism for a 327 start. Luckily, it doesn't particularly matter what he hits with Shinigami. It still probably was the best one he could have hit. But we're only a little bit behind. We might be able to pull back from that. So we'll go with Ghoul, Count Dracula, and Edwin Lancier for a 525. So that puts us right back into the lead. And we'll try and set up with Linux kernel for the final round of the game. Unfortunately, we won't be drawing Ghoul again. So we go with Vitruvian Man, Linux kernel, and Hysterical Strength. It's probably the best we're going to get. I could play Jet Car, but I do want to try and save that for the final round. So the opponent did play his Will-O-Wisp at the optimal time there. So it's really going to be a struggle to pull through this game. But we have our own Will-O-Wisp now. So maybe that can give us a slight comeback. I am not too hopeful about that, but you never know. The opponent could draw some terrible cards. I don't think it's going to happen, but we can always hope. So our Plague Doctor is not coming around on time. So we're going to have to go with the best hand I can make for a 490. With the Jet Card boost. So I do not think we'll be able to pull through this game. And I believe the opponent is also holding on to a Sidonia. So I do not think we have a chance. But we'll still try our best here. 80 and 77. So there we go. We did lose the game, but I didn't really expect to win. I was happy enough to be able to win 2 rounds. So that's the deck, guys. Again, not super powerful, just more of a fun deck for today. I will bring you better decks during the week. So we'll leave it there, folks. I hope you did enjoy the video. And I'll be back to you tomorrow with a proper deck profile. Cards everywhere, out.